Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Java Delight. Brandon will be joining us here shortly, but in the meantime, it's Brett Gordon as kind of the guest host for a little bit here, along with the beautiful Ilse coming from freezing cold South Africa. Tell us a little bit about how beautiful your day is down there, Ilse.
My day has been very cold, so we've been skipping out on going to the toilet regularly because it's freezing and just drinking coffee, and it's just been a hectic day. Been busy at work. Suddenly all the customers woke up and everybody wants steel, so I was really, really busy today. Yes. And on your side?
Well, things here are pretty good. It's a little bit overcast. I'm not sure if it's due to the smoke from the California fires or if it's just kind of a little bit overcast. We've got what we call our monsoon season here, which is a change in the direction of the winds. And sometimes that brings some overcast. Sometimes it even brings some rain, which the more rain we get here, the better. But actually, the last time that it rained here, I wasn't here. I was actually out visiting Bob in South Dakota, and there was some of what they call, the wind shear events, which is not a tornado, but I came back and there were certain areas of town where trees were completely uprooted and pushed over because the wind comes straight down, and then when it hits the ground, it goes straight across and it just knocks the crap out of everything. And we get that every once in a while here. So it's we'll see what today brings, but it doesn't look like it's going to be, bad weather. It just looks overcast.
Yeah, the weather's been strange lately.
Yeah, definitely. I just see that Brian is actually in Detroit, Michigan. The smoke is all the way over there. I mean, the fire
from California, from the fires.
Yes.
And how far are they apart? Just to give us an idea.
About 2,000 miles.
Freaking hell, that's far.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. The fire that's going on in California is now the largest fire in California history, I think. And when these fires are going like that, the wind naturally blows to the east, and like Colorado right now is supposed to have the worst air quality in the nation, and it's all due to the smoke getting blown from California across the country, and Colorado for some reason is getting the brunt of it right now. They were actually told not to go out and run around and do stuff because of the air quality the other day. I know for sure it was really, really bad. So, it's pretty intense right now, and a lot of it's due to poor management of forests, not allowing.
I just wanted to ask, what do they think started it?
Well, actually, one of the things that they're saying might have started the fire was actually the power company. And this is something that has happened over the past few years. And as the power lines are in place, and then the growth of the forests continue, sometimes those trees start to get to the rubbing on the lines or things along those lines, static buildup. Anyhow, it does tend to spark a fire. But the biggest problem is that we tend not to let the smaller fires burn anymore. And as a result, underbrush continues to get thicker and thicker. And when it does start, the intensity of the flames and everything is far worse than it would have been if we'd had the small fires. And part of the reason for no small fires is because people keep building houses and things in the forests, and then you're like trying to protect them, but because of that, you're not letting the fires burn. And when I was out in Rapid City, actually, I was coming back through Yellowstone, and I went through a part of Yellowstone National Park that had a fire there a few years ago, actually quite a few years ago. And what happened is because the undergrowth was so strong, so thick, the heat of the fire got to be so intense, it burned and killed all the trees. It just wiped them completely out, when normally the bark of the tree can help a tree to get through smaller fires that are quicker and not as hot. And that helps for regrowth in forests. But
Yes.
when they get really intense and really hot, it just burns them to the ground.
When last was the big fire that was almost as big as this one?
Well, there's always fires here this time of year. And we had a really big one last year that affected that a similar area of California up in the northern part, and it goes up into Idaho and things like that. And also down in southern part of California. But this fire, like I was talking about at Yellowstone, I think that was maybe 10 years ago or something like that. But when we went through, it just looked like toothpicks coming out of the ground because the trees were completely dead. And just, you had, just basically the trunk of the tree was still standing there. It was really weird. It was a bit surreal going through the national park and seeing this whole swath of the park that was basically just toothpicks. And it had happened long ago enough that you didn't really see as much of the black from the trees and things like that. Anyhow, it's just one of those things that, is happening, and there's nothing that I can physically do about it. The firefighters out there, they're trying to do their best. But with the weather, the winds, things like that, this fire's been burning since the middle of July.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, so
I was not aware
go
of
ahead.
that. I really didn't know.
Yeah. So we definitely have those fires. Australia had a bunch of fires last year, as I recall. So it's, a lot of times they're saying it's got to do with the weather change and climate change and that kind of stuff. And there's definitely part of that that's contributing to the dryness and the drought and so forth. The drought that we're in right now is over a 20-year drought now. And that's why, like Lake Mead, which is a big man-made lake here behind Hoover Dam or Boulder Dam, that is 130 feet below where it was at where they would say it should be. So, there's significant drought going on right now.
Oh, wow. We don't even know about that.
Yeah, I was just looking here. Bob is saying that there's a fire on Iron Mountain the other day, but South Dakota has a great conservation program and they got it out fast. Well, I think that, some states actually do allow for these fires to burn, smaller fires to burn, and they do some active undergrowth brush management, and that helps to keep the fires from getting completely out of control. When I was out there at the Freedom Fest, which is the largest gathering of libertarians in the world, that's why I was out in South Dakota just a few weeks ago. The governor was talking about how they actively manage their forests far better than California does. California has always been, a point of contention. And I think you're starting to see, what really happens when you do manage them actively and effectively and when you don't.
Because
Uh,
those fires travel fast. So if it's such a big area, I can understand the manpower and everything to keep it under control or to try and
right, and it all depends on the prevailing winds and things along those lines. So they do their best to try to create fire breaks and things like that, but then it just doesn't always hold. So I think that that's kind of what's happening right now. I just see that Brian used to spend 6 to 10 weeks of his summer helping to fight forest fires. So, there's a big volunteer group that do those types of things. And I pray for those guys because every year some of them succumb to the fires. And, they were just doing their best to try to maintain control or possibly save other people's lives and other people's homes or livelihoods. It actually, this fire actually just burned down an entire town to the ground because it was in the path and the heat was so intense. A lot of the buildings were old, and then the fact that it was so dry, it just burned everything down.
It does small towns like that, do they rebuild them or do the people just leave them and move to other states?
It depends. It'll be real interesting to see what they do, like with this town, because of the significant amount of damage. They may not rebuild. They may just, it was not a huge town to where, people may just say, well, I'm going to have to figure out where to move and get housing again. And a lot of them won't be able to afford to do anything about it. So, and that's
actually so sad to think everything you've worked for your entire life just up in flames and you have nothing.
Well, and it especially hurts, those that don't have a lot of money and those that may have retired. And I've seen some pictures of people, in these smaller towns. Oftentimes that's what you have. And they're like, everything that I own is gone. And now I don't know what to do. So the Red Cross steps in, they try to help out. Anyhow, again, those things happen. And part of the reason that we're here is to be able to offer, people that could be in those situations or similar type situations, just because it wasn't a fire that burned down your house, you still may be in a situation where your home is no longer available to you, or things are happening where you may have to give up your home. I know that, there's a lot of that's happening throughout the country. So we need to have places like Java Delight where people can tune in, hear about things, find out that they're not the only ones going through some of these challenges, and then listen to different ways that we can, work mentally. Because in order to deal with the physical situation, the first thing we really need to do is deal with the mental situation, right? And if we go into things looking as though everything is clouded over and dark and nothing but smoke and haze in front of us, guess what? We really can't see the path forward. So if we can clear that haze and smoke in our minds and look for what the future can be as opposed to what the past was, then we have an opportunity to actually retake control of our life and to be able to put it in a direction that we wanted or choose to go, as opposed to just allowing things to happen around us.
True, try and help mankind, because that is ultimately what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to say good morning to Sherry as well, who's out there. Like I said, Bob Seymour is out there. Brian Tracy,
morning,
enjoy. Jessica is out there. So really appreciate everybody there. Brian, or the big banana. Sometimes I find myself covered in whipped cream in the middle of a split. Okay. Let's lighten up the morning a little bit there. Start off the morning with a banana split with whipped cream on top, instead of talking about the smoke-filled skies of Colorado and the fires in California.
So what good news are you waiting for? Have you done all your studying for your license?
Yeah, I'm glad that I knocked that out last weekend. It was 24 hours of studying and tests and things in a total of 48 hours, but it's done. It's over with. Now I can kind of focus on where I'm going to go with that and decide, where I want to take my license and do that kind of stuff. So that part's done. That gives me an opportunity this week to focus on other things rather than having that cloud over my head. So oftentimes, that's what we really need to do, is just find those things that have been kind of nagging or holding us down, feeling like the weight of the world is on our shoulders because we got these things to do. And if you just pick one of those things out and knock it out, and then you can then you've got headspace to do the same thing with another and another, and pretty soon all that crap that's been bugging you is gone, and you can start to really move forward again. Let's go ahead.
I see you guys put a little something new in the promo when the video starts. That is so beautiful. It's the first time I've seen it. It's really, really beautiful.
Well, and that's
well done.
Well, it's interesting because I was talking to Brandon, and I was like, oh man, I haven't started the show in a while. What things do we put on there? And actually, I think I pushed some of the wrong buttons, and that's why we saw what we saw. But they were all kind of different intros that we've had or made or, been a part of what's in our repertoire. We just may not have always shown them.
Oh, wow. I like that. That's weird. I like that. Something new.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of nice to see something new. Other times it's nice to, make sure that we maintain our brand, and that's a key thing, so that when people tune in, they know that this is Java Delight. But it can be Java Delight, and every once in a while put something else in there to wake you up in the morning and say, "Whoa, haven't seen that in a while."
See if you were watching.
Yeah, exactly. So what's Bob saying here? It's not easy to get through the day with hyperinflation, making gas over $4 a gallon. I'm pretty much stuck. Bob's the one who's riding his scooter all around. And right now he's still at the rally. The rally's still going on. And he's still ministering to people and trying to get to people so that he can bring the word of happiness and joy to people's lives that may be having some challenges. And with this price of gas, he's having challenges being able to reach them and to drive around. And right now, and I think, the time that they have the rallies out there, you can spend a lot of time on your bike and not get too far because there's just so much traffic. So Bob, wishing you the best. I know I saw that you were kind of contemplating whether you're going to be able to reach out and go see somebody today and have a little bit of fun, or if you're going to, have something come up that's going to allow you to spread the word of God and help somebody that may need your help at the time. And believe me, Bob is just amazing at just having those things happen to him.
Yes, I always read his posts. It's so inspiring just to see the work and everything. So I want to say to Bob, you'll have a full tank of gas by the end of tonight. God never fails. He never, ever fails.
Yeah, and it's just so interesting how Bob is connected through the internet with so many people, and then all of a sudden things just come up. And Bob's like, oh, I'm near there, or, oh, it's only 1,000 miles away. I'll get there. And in that whole mindset of it's only 1,000 miles away, we've talked, I think, on the show at sometimes where we're like, holy crap, I got to go see my mom and dad, and they're 15 miles away. And I'm like, no, I can't do that today. It's too far. And here's Bob, who's got the mindset that, oh, it's 1,000 miles away. I can be there in 2 days. And boom, he's gone.
That's amazing.
Oops, hold on. I don't know why all of a sudden my phone is ringing. At this time of the morning, it's only 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm already getting junk calls. I think you're going to have a
busy day.
How you can get junk calls that early in the morning bothers the heck out of me.
I wanted to ask you, is it, getting back into studying, after being out of school so long, how did you focus to do 12 or 24 hours of study? Especially, realty,
Yeah, real
what
estate.
real estate,
Um,
it can't be that interesting, the work. So how do you focus? I struggle with that.
well, yeah, I've been kind of contemplating whether or not I was going to reactivate my license for 8 months now. Actually, probably closer to almost a year now. And finally, I decided I'm going to do it. There's some things that are going on, some friends that are doing some things in it. If I have my license, it avoids having, legal issues if people bring it up. So I was like, okay, it's just one of those things where finally there was enough negative pressure of what could happen if I helped these guys out and didn't have my active license, and the positive of knowing, okay, I'll have my license for the next 2 years. So all of a sudden that just got my focus to the point where it's like, do it. And then it was like, okay, you can spread this out, 3 hours at a time, maybe per day, and spread it out over 6 days, or just get it done. And I was like, just do it. Just do it. And yeah, 12 hours of that was live stream classes. And believe me, there was one class that was absolutely horrendous. It was 3 hours of a guy trying to basically preach what his idea was. And I was like, man, this sucks. But anyhow, the other 12 were like tests, study and test. And luckily I still can kind of remember some of that stuff. So I was able to finish it a little bit faster than 12 hours, but I got the credit and now I'm done, and that's cool.
No, it's all done.
Here's Bob. I counted my quarters and I got enough to fill Bullwinkle. There you go. So I'm going to be able to get to town. See, just like Ilsa was saying, somehow, some way, you're going to find the money. And maybe it is counting your pennies, counting your quarters. And all of a sudden, there you are. I got a tank of gas, or at least I got a gallon to get me into town. I can do what I'm talking about. And then God will bring the rest of the money to me so I can fill my tank to get back home.
Amen.
And sometimes that's what we need to do, right? You need to put yourself out there and then wait for the energy of the universe. If you're putting out the right energy is going to come back to you.
That's the thing. We tend to not be grateful for what we have in the moment. And by chasing more, you're always in a chasing mode and you're chasing it away from you. So just be grateful for what you have. I know a lot of people don't have much, but it's being grateful for when you don't have much is the most difficult, I think.
Sometimes when we have abundance, we tend to forget what it's like when you actually don't. And we take things for granted. And sometimes I think it's good to actually feel that abundance may not be there all the time. And it gives us a little added motivation. If it doesn't give us added motivation, it helps us to better relate to those that are in a different state of mind or a different state of abundance. And that then enables us to help them, because we can actually get into their world a little bit more. And you really can't focus. And Bob does this amazingly, where you find people that are maybe challenged. And the first thing you kind of have to do is get into their world. Understand more about where they're coming from, the perspective that they have, the situation that they had. And then as you do that and you kind of start to resonate with them, you build in that rapport, that enables you now to start to guide them in a direction that takes them out of maybe that mindset that they've been in for a while and move them into another direction. And Bob is just, through his stories, he's got stories that, I mean, you could probably spend years with Bob and never hear the same story twice. It's crazy. It's amazing.
I think you should write a book.
I think he's actually in the process of trying to do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, I don't know. And
Oh,
if you look
wow.
at his stuff out on Facebook, it's so eloquent, and I have trouble trying to write 3 or 4 or 5 paragraphs in Facebook, and Bob's always doing that kind of stuff, telling another story and what he was doing and who he was with and how he helped them and those types of things. And at the same time, Bob has been through a hell of a lot in his life. And I think that that's a big reason why he can do what he does, because he has experienced so much. And then he was a minister, in more of a formal setting. And I think now with the freedom that he has of being on his bike and just, meeting up with people, it's a whole different way to be able to connect. It's a way to minister one-on-one or one on a small group, as opposed to sitting at a pulpit. And I know that he had mentioned, being in that pulpit area and trying to preach was just not resonating with him the way that and it doesn't resonate with the people that are listening. People go to church and they sit in there and they listen to the minister talk or the sermon for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. And then they go home and you ask them, what did he just say? And you're like, I don't know. But like Bob says, when you sit down one-on-one or with just 1 or 2 people and you talk, they remember it a year from now, 2 years from now, the rest of their life, because you were able to connect in a way that you can't do when you're standing on a pulpit. So that's why I think he's just so amazing in what he's doing. And then you also have to remember, it's not just who he actually actively, is interacting with, but then afterwards, those people go out and they tell the same stories like I'm telling about Bob.
Exactly.
They go out and tell about Bob, or they tell about what Bob helped them to do. And then they help others to do the same type of thing. And that's how you create life everlasting. And it's amazing how widespread your legacy can be, because, one person touches 3 people, and each of those 3 touch 3 people, and each of those 3 touch 3 people. And you're going up, algorithmically. And it's just like, pretty soon you've got this massive impact.
It's mind-blowing the impact, the ripple effect that it's got. As soon as you start changing your mindset, you start changing your family members' mindsets, and they go to work and everything, because you have to practice what you preach. And I think that's why a lot of us go through the things that we go through in our lives, is to pick up the experience so that you can know how other people feel, because you've been there. You preach from a deeper space of understanding when you've been in the same position as people. When you have not had that, and you lack compassion, you can't do that kind of work, because you need compassion, because Jesus had compassion for everybody. And
whether it be Jesus, whether it be, it really doesn't matter what the religion
but any
is.
religious, exactly that. But what I mean is I don't believe. I've got my own beliefs,
right?
And my feeling about the Bible is people telling stories about people like Bob changing people's lives and bringing them to God. So we need to tell people, and Bob just needs to do, and the message will get to the right people. That will help.
I believe in giraffes.
Exactly.
and the power of the giraffe is amazing. And when you can tell that, because when you go to you're lucky enough that you can actually see the giraffes in the wild. We have to go to a zoo to see them. But the amazing thing is looking at people as they're looking at the giraffes. And I mean, having animals in a zoo, may or may not appeal to different people. But the one thing that it does do is it enables a whole population of people to see something that they would not otherwise have seen. Or they may see it on TV, on National Geographic, but you don't realize just how big a giraffe is until you're standing basically next to one in the zoo. And now you can appreciate the animal. And by appreciating the animal, you get a chance to help also maybe conserve and protect the animals. And those are the things, it's just like we have to protect Brandon sometimes. And, we
all need protection.
Yeah, well, and Brandon is one of those that we protect, and then Brandon is out there sharing the word and bringing joy to people's lives. So we're going to bring him in right now because he's been in the background patiently waiting and looking at us, and now it's time to bring him in where he's wearing his Mickey Mouse ears.
Wow, that vein on the top of my head looks big today. Holy cow. Hi, guys.
Hi.
I had a breakfast meeting this morning, and they even said to me, they're like, so does that vein on the top of your head only show when you're like nervous? And I was like, how do you know I'm nervous? Like, what did I do that makes you think I'm nervous? And they were like, oh, you're just like, you're fidgety. And I'm like, oh, I'm always fidgety. I don't know if you noticed. I don't sit still. You should watch one of my morning shows. Like, squirrels watch my morning show going, God, I can't pay attention to this because of him. So, like, I understand. Like, but no, I love your message this morning, guys. And Brett, thank you. Brett jumped in for me. My meeting went long, and I did everything I could to be back. Like, I got here right at like 10, and then the internet, Brett's watched me in the background running around trying to like, all I was trying to do is figure out why the Wi-Fi is not like strong here and what's taking all the bandwidth, and figured it out. It's good. But it's 10:30 now, and I'm getting to catch up with you two. And it's usually a Jessica Dugas Tuesday. It's Big D Tuesdays. But I know that we're switching some things around, and next week she'll be back. So wishing Miss Dugas 100% the best vibes and all that. Brett Gordon, you are a sexy son of a bitch for being here for us. Thank you. Miss Ilsa, how are you? I want to start by saying you look, I'm in shorts, a t-shirt, and I'm bald, and you have like a hat, a sweater, a jacket. Like, are you okay? Like, you sexy son of a bitch.
It's 12 degrees. Yeah, it's cold. So that's why I look like this. It's very, very cold. What does your shirt say?
My parents told me I could become anything. I decided to become an asshole.
I want one of those. I love it.
I wear this around. Actually, what's really funny is the place they picked to go to breakfast this morning. I knew the owner, and I walk in with this on, and he looks at me. His name's George, and George goes, I haven't seen you in a while, but when you enter a room, you really do take it over, don't you? I go, I guess. It went very well. We had pancakes, and nice. I had to have my pancakes this morning, and they asked me where would we want to go, and I picked a place that's a hidden gem of Cleveland that even if you live here, you really don't know about it unless you know somebody that knows it. And I was like, do you guys like bacon? And they were like, yeah. Like, I got more replies back. Right? They're like, is a pig's ass pork? Is a this? I'm reading their messages going, yes. Like, I think they like bacon. So we went there so they could have bacon and coffee. But what they didn't know is it's right next to a big NBA facility that's like a hidden like temple for the NBA players in Cleveland. And so I was like, the people I was meeting there were having NBA people meet us there. And it was just a lot of interesting ways of connecting all these things. And then I just did what I do. I got there really early. I entertained. They asked me questions, and the woman who was running the meeting with me was like, I'm going to get you to focus. Okay. We're going to do 6 things we have to make sure we get through today, and you are going to focus. So she ordered me pancakes before I got there. And I was like, all right, I got this. I'm here to focus. I did my best. We got through all 6. We got through everything in a proper way and a professional way. And I have a bunch of gigs coming up, and I'm going to be able to do a bunch of good things. And yeah, I'm excited. So Yeah, it's an exciting time. I'm having good things happening, and I'm very grateful. Yeah, be right back doing a healing circle. Ooh, so that kind of is attention grabbing right there. Yeah,
Yes.
my mouse hates me
Yeah.
right now. Like, so let's
How can we
catch
do
up really
that?
quick. A healing circle?
Yes.
How do we do this? Like, so what we do is we stand in a circle and we put somebody in the middle of it, and then we all take a bottle of water and dump it on top of them so that way they get baptized.
You're lying. Brent gave it away because I almost believe you. I almost believed you. I'm so gullible. I know I'm gullible, but I always think people tell the truth. So I really
Remember what Brandon's shirt says.
You're an asshole. Brandon, you're an asshole.
I have my tendencies. It's funny. That's kind of what I'm known for. I'm told I'm like known for being a funny asshole, and I'm like, how do I lean in on that to make money? Like, how do I make money being a funny asshole? Like,
because it's
is there a way to do that?
Funny asshole.
Hey, there's a lot of comedians out there that do that.
Do you know how much work goes into being a comedian? Like, to be a stand-up comedian and be a good one? No, I'm broke enough. Do you know what it'd be like trying to be a stand-up comedian nowadays? I don't need that shit. Like, that would make me want to die. Beyond a moving picture, what a funny asshole. Thanks, buddy. I love you. But no, we got a lot happening this week. Ilsa is running around. Her favorite pet shark is learning a new trick this week. She's trying to teach the great whites how to do like the dolphin thing where they're like up on their tail going backwards. Like it was pretty cool.
We're
The videos
practicing the sounds tomorrow.
Oh, that you're teaching them sounds?
Yes, it has to, like a dolphin. I mean,
can you show us what
teach them how to be flipper
want to
sounds?
make that sound. Why did I get myself into this?
I'm like,
I knew the moment when I said it. Fuck, maybe I should have done that.
So, Ilsa, can you show us how this trick you're teaching them works? Like, stand up and show us.
The sound as well.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sound too.
Here we go. This is her newest trick she's teaching her great whites.
I can never figure out this camera. Let's do this.
There you go. That looks wonderful. You look just like one of your great whites. Now, what is the sound?
It sounds like that. That always sounds. That's the sound. That's the closest you're gonna get to a dolphin. Is my laugh.
Oh, that's funny. Now, did you guys talk? I missed the first part of the show, but did you guys read anything with our bio of who I'm interviewing or who we're getting to interview today?
We were talking
not
about
yet.
fires. About the
Fires.
The fires in California. Yes.
Yeah, they're getting pretty bad, and it's getting kind of scary out there right now. Yeah.
Sending love to everybody.
Make love to everybody. Got it.
No,
right.
send love.
Ladies and gentlemen, send me your address. I'm supposed to come and make love to you, according to Ilsa. So don't worry, Brett.
Go for it.
Don't worry, Brett. I'm a good cuddler.
Yeah, I know. When you were out here, it was exciting.
Trust me. Why do you think Gavin still wants to be around me all the time? All right. So today we're interviewing Holly Hamel, Hamel. She is a teacher. She is a healer. So we're going to do a healing circle and dump water on Elsa. She is on this earth to help you rediscover your divine truth and inner guidance. She is here to provide a spiritual consultation on your soul's journey to help you unlock your professional and potential and your unique magic. I believe that we all do have that. So this is going to be a fun interview because I want to hear these things and find out how we break into our magic and find our talent. Each of us has a specific medicine inside our souls and that the world needs. She teaches you to harvest this natural born resource in a sustainable way so that you can live with more alignment and more spiritual guidance. This helps you avoid regrets, diversions, and form your purpose and keeps you from wasting your time, money, and energy on things that are not on your highest of paths. I have to be honest, I'm super excited for that one, guys. It seems like it's going to be one that we're going to learn about. I believe I'm on my path. It's just one of those things where me knowing the path that I'm on and sticking to it. Does that make sense? Because, like, I feel I'm easily distracted. Like, Brett calls me, and then him and I are on the phone for 10 minutes, and next thing we know, it's 2 hours later, and we're still talking about some BS that we didn't need to talk about. And then Brett's like, I need to learn how to get you to focus. And I'm like, that's what my mom's been trying to learn for years. I don't know how to do it. I move. Like, I'm always
We
moving.
focus when we have to.
Yeah, it's just like Ilsa was asking me about how did I do 24 hours of real estate training in a weekend. I had to. I just wanted to get it done. Boom, it's done. And then you move on, and then you can spend 2 hours talking to Brandon about, nothing that really makes a hill of beans a difference. But, it gave me the time to be able to do that.
Are the people making fun of me?
No, they're making fun of
I'm
us.
just joking.
He goes, it's moments like this I'm glad I tuned in. And then he goes, referring to the dolphin and whale calls. Like for real. Like, I love it because we're all sitting here going,
Well, is anybody here old enough to remember Flipper, the series that was on TV? Back in the
No, I remember Free Willy.
60s.
That's why I wanted to stick up my hand, because I thought it was Free Willy. But that's a whale in any case. It's not even a dolphin.
Yeah, Free Willy today has a whole different meaning when you're down on the strip and it says Free Willy. You could get arrested for that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Everywhere in the world. Means the same thing.
I have no rebuttal to that, Brett. You and I walked around the strip, and I was dying at how many people. Like, think of the one guy who walked up behind us. You had no idea who he was or anything like that. Brett's like just in his zone. He's looking for somewhere to eat that we both could enjoy. No joke. He's being Brett, a genuine, sincere, sexy son of a bitch. And he turns around. And I get this guy walk right up behind me, leans in my ear, goes, "Do you want to make it snow in Vegas?" And I'm like, "No, thank you." And I look at Brett, and he's just like, "What?" And I'm like, "Do you want to go skiing?" And he just looks at me like what? And I'm like, "Oh God!" Like I said, guys, I have a look. I'm either an undercover cop, a drug dealer, or the manager. It's really fun to walk into certain like grocery stores, being me, because like I'll walk into like a Target wearing something like this, and like the undercover security or the guys up front, they're watching me. They're like, that guy's a drug dealer. We're gonna have to arrest him, I bet. But then next thing you know, the people walking around are like, "Oh, I bet that's an undercover cop over there watching me." Then you turn around and I get somebody that randomly walks up and they're like, "Excuse me, do you know where the Grey Poupon is?" And I'm like, "I'm not a manager here. Does it look like that?" Like, I just get used to this.
I must say I've never, ever been mistaken. Well, not never, ever, but very, very seldom been mistaken for a manager or something. Must be my restless bitch face when I walk in public.
Are you implying you have an RBF?
I do. Everybody's too scared to approach me.
I'm scared to approach you. First time you were on, they were like, "Brandon, don't cross Ilsa. Just trust me."
I'm a gangster, OG baby.
They were like, "Don't ask her where she gets her chum to train these sharks from. Like, she's able to do these things." Like,
I know, the like, body. Sharks eat anything.
Ilsa's the one that's like, "Here."
They do not leave.
Well, it was intimidating because the first time I saw Ilsa's anything, I saw the YouTube video of her diving into this ocean.
You saw her anything?
Anything. I saw her anything.
I did not know that.
Neither did I.
I saw her first video online and she jumps into the ocean. And I'm like, "What is this girl doing? What is she doing?" Next thing I know, a great white shark is breaching and she's on the nose of it just jumping off. I'm like, wow, this girl's one bad bitch. I better watch out for her. Look at her hide her face.
Did a double flip.
The
It
next
did.
time you saw her, you saw this great white shark coming up, and she was right underneath it, pushing it out.
My turn.
It was a-
my turn to be little spoon.
I was the little spoon. Oh my god. Brett, what is the weather like for you right now? Because now that it's 12 degrees in South Africa, like that just seems cold. Like
Well, it's
12
going to
degrees.
be cool. It's going to be cooler here today. It's only going to be like 102 or 103. So,
See, but wait, I have a question on that. Are you getting the smoke from the fires that you guys were talking about? Are you seeing like the smoke?
we are a bit overcast, and I'm not sure. I think part of it's due to the monsoon, which is just a shift in the wind, so we're getting more moisture in the air. But we have had some smoke here, and if you go up to the northern part of Nevada into the Reno area, they're definitely getting a lot of the smoke. But most of the smoke, as we were talking about, is getting blown and actually somehow congregating over Colorado. So like Denver has got some of the worst air quality in the nation. And in fact, I think just the other day they had the worst air quality in the world.
Wow.
Because of the smoke.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really bad because of the smoke. So, sometimes just like when I was in Okinawa in the Air Force, Mount Pinatubo erupted in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Which is the volcano in the Philippines. And we had a couple of bases there. And the base that was actually closest to Mount Pinatubo didn't get as much of the ash as the base that was about 60, 70 miles away. And that was the Navy base. And then I got a chance to go over there after the eruption and everything and see just how much ash was on the ground. It was crazy. And they were taking bulldozers and pushing it off into the ocean and stuff. Crazy. But, sometimes the smoke and the ash and stuff actually affects things further away a lot more than it might some of the areas that are closer. Just depends on the winds.
Is there not a volcano erupting somewhere in America as well?
Well,
I don't know of one.
There's always one down in Hawaii that's constantly erupting on the Big Island.
I thought that was just at my parents' house.
Those erupt, I think, quite frequently throughout the country, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. My sister erupted this weekend, I think, when she was talking to my mom. So it was really a lot of fireworks there. But
family gatherings. What is it with you two and your volatile family gatherings?
We're the black sheep of the families.
Me too, but I just don't go to them so that they can tell me this. I save myself the embarrassment.
But one of the other things is I went to Yellowstone. Yellowstone National Park is actually a super volcano. A lot of people don't know that. The what?
Isn't Yogi Bear from there?
Yeah. Okay. Yellowstone is right next to Yellowstone.
Yes, I remember Yogi Bear.
I did. I saw Boo Boo in the background.
Brett did a boo boo in the background.
No, I did a poo poo in the background.
Oh my god. Our guest today is going to be watching it right before this and be like, I think I need to cancel right now. It's only 10 minutes till.
These people can't be helped.
They want to change the world, my ass.
They can't even keep up with the conversation because we're right off track from where we were.
I love how you changed the subject, though. He's talking about Yellowstone, Ilsa. Isn't that where Yogi Bear's from? I'm like, oh my god. Like, didn't even register in my mind, and I love it. Like, that was heaven for me. That was heaven. Hey!
Only
look
you
at
that, Kevin.
Unless
What's up, dude?
what if we put a lid on top of it? Like Tupperware, okay? Like you put a lid on top of it. Is the heat going to pop that lid off? A cork! Like wine. Well, just like, but how do you get who's going to jump on it? Like
The
to get the
biggest
cork
person
to go
in
down.
the group, or everybody together. I mean, it's gonna be quite a big cork.
Gavin, I hope you're doing well, buddy. I know you were out this weekend. You went out to a camping site and you went camping with everybody, with your new roommates and all that. So I hope you're doing well, bro. Give us a call when you get a chance. We got to get you back here. How you're doing? Let you just say hi to everybody, catch back up, see what's going on, man. We love you. Brett, on the other hand, is been busy as hell lately. He is got his license in real estate. He's looking to start a new company. It's called Businesses Are People Too. And it's all about businesses and their peoples all working together. And I got nothing, Brett. I was just going to keep going.
Hey, actually, I was going to bring that up because I just saw the results from Ilsa's assessment. And Ilsa is a star, which means that what we're doing right here is like right up Ilsa's alley. This is like in her flow.
So I'm in Elsa's flow. So that's why her and I work well together. Is I'm a pain in the ass and she's in flow.
Well,
And who's I'm the star.
Yeah.
Not the star. I'm a star.
It was the face that went with it. And I'm the star.
I never get to say that, okay?
She's making faces at me yesterday, and Brett has no idea what was going on. And we were both like, oh my God, Brett, you had no idea how her and I were like just sitting here. And we're both like, you're talking, and we're like, how is he going to catch us? Like if anybody was
children in the shops, that's why I don't like wearing a mask, because I can't pull my face anymore. I look at them and I literally pull my face. Even if I drive past them, even at my kids, if they like, I'm gonna always putting my face, always.
Oh my God. Like do you ever like get up next to somebody at a red light and you just stare with like a weird look? You're like,
no, they usually stare at me.
Yeah. That's because you're a girl. Guys stare. They're creepy.
I know.
Guys don't realize, like they see a. Go ahead. I usually just look in front of me and like out of the corner of my eye. Because you have to, you can't just look in front of you. You have to see, because they smash and grab. You stop at the traffic light, they smash and grab your phone and your bag out of. Sometimes they sort of make sometimes they make the women get out of the car, because everybody puts their handbags in the boot, because it's such a high crime, that they put it in the boot, and they make them stop a guns against their head and make them open the boot to give them all the money and stuff, because they know the ladies put their bags there. It's very bad. Smash and grab. Oh, you've got some places that's hectic. We drive with our bags under our seats and that. So it's hectic.
I drive with a gun next to my seat, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I don't have one of the. I had pepper spray, but I don't think I must have pepper spray, because they might just catch me on the wrong day and I'll spray somebody innocent. So I'll have to take my chances with the criminals. Okay.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
I just want to put my laptop. Hang on, 5 seconds. 2 seconds.
All right,
2 seconds.
you got it. I'll talk to Brett for a second. So, Brett, we have a really special guest on today.
Yes.
Is there anything? Let me read Holly's rest of her bio, and you tell me if this is something. If you have any questions you really want me to ask, because this fits you in a way where I think you're going to enjoy her a lot. Because Holly's got this. I was looking at her website while you guys were talking and all this, and like she's got a lot of cool things, and she's doing a lot of exciting things. Her ultimate goal is to help people find their unique spiritual medicine for their ultimate expansion, and to make profound contributions that will create everyday miracles in your life. Yeah. She helps you locate, develop, amplify, and apply your magic in a tangible way that creates ripple effects in lives all around you. She teaches you to bring your authentic gifts to the table spiritually and
Pragmatically.
Yep, thank you. Like I kept putting the M in the promgratically is what I kept wanting to say, and I'm like, that's not a word. I really do have dyslexia. Like every word I'm reading, I say 3 times in my head before I say it out loud. I have to. So she has a bachelor's of science in health and in health behavior and 20 years of mental health and postpartum counseling. In 2012, she has been involved in ongoing shamanic study of the divine intervention, light language, and transmutation as part of the quickening under Dr. Susan Rossi. She graduated from Life Coaching Program in 2020, where she studied International Coaching Federation standard practices. I have questions on multiple things. So like for me, one of my questions I'm going to have to get into her, I have to ask is like, is she a shaman? Because she took the shaman studies. What is light language? Like I speak sign language, but what is light language?
Well, it's kind of like, they talk about.
I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you. I'm saying these are questions I've been asked her because.
Well, I think you should ask her because I want to find out too. I know the language. I mean, I know the words. I don't know exactly what they mean.
Right. And that was what my thing is. And I want to understand that, like, she used this word 2 times and it caught my attention, but everybody has their own, where is it? I want to say it right. Medicine. Like they're all the ultimate guide is to find your own unique spiritual medicine. And for me, that is what I'm like, I'm curious what that means. I'm curious how that's going to flow because truthfully, how do you know if you're in your medicine? How do you know? Because it's like if we're our own medicine, we have things like I look at like you and Ilsa. We have different chemicals or energies that we bring. Are we bringing those energies in to be able to fill our spiritual journey? Or are we taking on these energies and they're more like big rocks that are just being slapped on our backs to carry around? And how do you know if I have Ilsa as a rock? Or is she actually a good energy that's going to keep me going? Like I have multiple things. I was looking at her webpage. I was super excited. Guys, it's going to be a great interview. So if you have any questions from light work to how long Brett's beard is going to get to how old is Elsa when she gets married to Brian Tracy, either way, you're able to ask.
Why does everybody want to marry me off? I don't want to be married to anybody.
Did you not see that I'm willing to marry off my ex-fiance? I literally was trying to get.
It's a good thing she's not watching.
She probably is, knowing my luck. I'm going to get a comment in the next few seconds. All right, so before we get started, I have one question about me. Does my hair look extra shiny today on the top of my head? Because I didn't shave it.
There's this vein thing that's going through your hair that I don't understand.
It's my vein. I have that, like, if you get me laughing and get me going, the vein right here just goes like, shit. As a kid, I like that thing would pop. But, like, the only way it goes away is not pop, like, and then all of a sudden I'm bleeding. Like it showed. Like, and my thing is,
Tarantino.
It is Quentin Tarantino. Very true. I've always had it, and the only time it went away was when I was at my heaviest, and I'm trying to take care and balance the body and mental and emotional, and that's the thing that shows, and people notice it. They're like, oh, you have a vein in the middle of your forehead. I'm like, if I wasn't bald, you wouldn't notice, so leave me alone. Like,
snap.
Right? Snap. So we have a very, very special guest. She'll be on in the next, like, minute to 2 minutes. I spot you back there, Holly. Take your time getting ready. I see that lip gloss. It looks fabulous. Do it, girl.
That reminds me. Thanks, Holly.
I can't hear her, so she's like saying something, and I feel so bad. It's like she's dancing and ready to wave at me now. So Holly is with us. I am already excited. You guys just read her bio. We're talking about finding our spiritual medicine and for your ultimate expansion. And truthfully, guys, even if I wasn't the one interviewing, I would be staying because I want to know how to get the most out of me and the medicine I bring to this universe. So do us a favor. Brett, thank you for being the sexy son of a bitch that you are. We're lucky we have one BG in this world, and that's Brett Gordon right there. Do us a favor, stay in the background, have some fun with us. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hit the commercial from our sponsors at Delight Cafe. Do us a favor, go check them out at delightcafe.com, and then stay here because we will have Miss Holly Hamel back in a second. Oh, I got a smile. Got it right. Holly Hamel back in a second. Thanks, guys.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab tested, all natural, water soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
Good morning, Miss Holly. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I
Good
am
morning.
wonderful. My name is Brandon. This is Ilsa. Ilsa is in South Africa, and she is like, I introduce her as the most beautiful woman in South Africa. And it's because A, she is, and B, I don't know anybody else in South Africa. So that's how she wins this. Like,
Thanks.
Perfect.
I'm going to stick to
Morning,
it, though.
morning.
But good morning, Holly. So how are you? And I want to start by give us a little bit about who Holly is and how she became this. I'm really interested in the spiritual medicine thing that you talk about because I'd like to know how I tap into my medicine that's Brandon. And I'm not trying to hog the show about me today, but I really want to learn about that. So like, I'm all yours today, Holly. Abuse me.
Okay, well, I'm not going to abuse you, but I would be happy to teach you how to get closer to stepping into your purpose and finding your divine spark and your unique medicine that you have to share with the world. So let's see. Where would you like to start with this?
Well, let's start with you. I want to get to know Holly first. So, Holly, how did you become into this? Were you born into this? Was this something that you kind of had to, like, because I know you in your bio, it says you graduated in 2020 with your, whatchamacallit, in September, your coaching program.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been doing this for about a year now and all that, but like, how did you get involved in this? What got you to do it? And why do you keep doing it? I know that's a lot there, but like, it's you, and I'm curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do feel like this is something that I've been doing all my life. And I've always been the person that complete strangers would open up to and tell me their most like intimate things. And I've always been the person that people go to when they need support and love and nurturing. And that's something that even when I was a child, I always had like big mom energy. And so people would, even like in high school and things like that, people, my friends would kind of call me like the mom of the group. And so there's always been a nurturing and an awareness of how, what people really need to hear in order to step into their glory, into their power. So I've always been able to see people's spiritual strengths and also their weaknesses. And so I've just naturally spoken into their strengths and told them like what I see and how they can get there and how they can remove blocks to get there. And so just even having, sometimes just even being witnessed, being seen and validated is such a huge part of this journey. Just just having another person acknowledge that dream in yourself, like I wish I could be like this, or like it's my truest wish, deepest dream to show up in the world this way. And when somebody else sees that and speaks into that, that does wonders to just help people know that it's not just a dream. It's not just their imagination. It's not just some whimsical fairy tale thing inside them, that it's truly real, and like other people can witness it, and then that creates a momentum to getting closer to that. But I started out just kind of naturally being like this socially with my friends, and then I have a degree in health behavior that I got in 2002. And then I was a postpartum doula for about 16 years. And so I worked in mental health for 5 years before that. And then, so I've always been in some type of counseling role. So even though I just finished the coaching program last year, I've always done some type of therapeutic counseling. So it's been over 20 years that I've been doing stuff like this. And it's just recently that I've really been called to take it to this spiritual level, to this place of deeper, just a deeper realm of truly like having that intuition and being able to apply that to all of the Western techniques and all of the just natural, cultural, social things that I've picked up along the way.
Has there been anything that, like, you mentioned the mental health? You were a mental health advocate and all that. Have you noticed that you're able to connect with people that are dealing with mental health issues? They maybe need a little bit more, I hate to say encouragement, but like a little bit like a push, like you mentioned, having a person that's accountable and all that. Have you noticed that people like gravitate towards mental health people, or people that are like givers, and they need that like appreciation more and all that? I say that as a people pleaser myself. Like, I'm always trying to make everybody else happy before myself. It makes it where I get distracted easily. And I'm more asking, like, as a person who does get distracted easily, how can I make sure to tap into my spiritual medicine? And how did you learn that? Because that's not something I've never heard it called that. So for me, I'm like, my mind is going 100 miles an hour going, well, what does that mean? How do I get into my medicine? How do I look into me for my medicine? Like, so tell me, how would I start with Brandon looking into Brandon, and then Ilsa looking into Ilsa?
Okay, so that's a great question. So what we need to do is just remember that we have to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we can help others. Because if you think about it in the airplane sense, if there is a situation, you're going to be able to help so many more people and yourself if you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. So that's true in people pleasing. That's true in emotions. That's true in the mental health realm. It's so important to make sure that you are coming from a place of neutral service, and you're not giving away all of your energy and all of your light, or putting other people ahead of that. Because what will happen is you will get burnt out, and then there will be two people that are not well. So really, it's about looking at the greater good. If you really want to make a real change, then you'll take care of yourself first. And it's not a selfish thing. It's a sustainability thing. It's a mastery thing. Because if you truly, truly do want to help, then you'll take care of yourself first and make sure that you have your needs met, that you're speaking your boundaries, that you're taking care of your inner being and cultivating your medicine. Then you can have even more to give to others. Does that help?
It does. If you're still a people pleaser and you're a squirrel like me, how can I create the proper boundary for myself? Like, my thing is, I feel, and I'm asking a question as me, but I know there's a lot of people like me, and they give of themselves to make everybody else feel better, and they don't know how to do that for themselves. And I mean that as in, like, I just started painting my nails so I don't bite them, and that's a form of self-love for me, because I want to create that boundary in myself. How do I do that when I'm always trying to make everybody happy before me? That boundary is something I give away, where I want to be able to love myself, but I don't know what that means. From shaving my head to brushing my teeth sometimes is just self-love. It's that boundary is something I have a hard time with, and I want to look inside deep into that dark area and find that medicine and be like, what am I supposed to do with Brandon in this world? to make it a better place? How do I make my world a better place? I'm sorry. I told you I wasn't going to want to make it about me, but I read your bio last night and got super excited. And was like, I want to make sure I ask the right question because I will learn from her. Holly's going to go teach us.
Absolutely. Okay, so you are breaking up just a little bit, but I think I got the gist of what you were asking. So, okay, so there is this condition, this spiritual situation that can happen when we are people pleasers, when we put other people's needs ahead of ours, and we don't know. And we are so focused on others' well-being and loving others that we are not loving ourselves first. So it sounds like that's kind of what you're dealing with. Am I hearing you correctly?
Correct.
Okay.
And then this question actually asks it perfectly. What are techniques for clearing our energies? Like instead of taking everybody else's energies on, is what it is. He's trying to ask my question in a different way. Yes.
Great. Okay, that's a great question. Okay, so what's really important that we do, just like you mentioned earlier, shaving your head or painting your nails, brushing your teeth. Yes, very shiny. I can see my face shining in it. That's gorgeous. Well done.
Thank you. I nared it today. I tried something new and I used Nair and I'm like, am I really that shiny today? And
great.
I'm like, thank you. I thought
love
so
it.
too.
I love it.
Okay.
I love shiny things. I put extra shine on everything. So that's great. Fantastic. Yeah. So the question about healers clearing themselves, it's kind of what you were talking about earlier, the self-care that you do for your body. You can do a spiritual hygiene. Okay. So what that looks like is clearing your field. And when we are really like doing this like bleeding heart energy, doing this codependent energy, doing this people pleasing, wounded healer, empath energy, sometimes what can happen is this thing called psychic cording. And so I'm going to try to explain this the best that I can. If you think about your cell phone, okay, and if the battery's running low, you've got two choices. You can plug it into the wall, which goes to the electrical grid in your city or wherever you are. Or you can maybe have like a juice pack, like where, or your car battery. And so you can plug it into a smaller battery that can charge it as well. But what happens when we charge it into like a juice pack or our car battery is it could run that battery down too. Okay. So the highest source of power that we have is when we plug it into the grid. So just follow me with this analogy. So the grid is source, our higher power, the infinite, incorruptible source, God, universal, the power of the universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is that you believe is something bigger than ourselves that has nothing to do with the other people here. It has to do with the true source of our energy. So when we plug ourselves into source, then that is the most sustainable, unending, incorruptible source that we can plug into. And sometimes what we do when we get attached to others is we plug into them or they plug into us. Okay. And that's psychic cording. And so when we're plugging into each other, it's easy because, the person's right there and the person's like, oh, you have this beautiful light. It would be so simple for me to just plug into you and get that energy from you. And we do that. It's not bad. And I'm not saying this to shame, blame, or guilt anyone. It just is something that we do as humans. But when we learn how to plug ourselves and help others plug into source and also create a grounding coil into the ground so that it's electrical system, then we kind of cut those cords where other people are plugged into us and we're plugged into others, and we connect everyone to source and ground in like a discrete, independent channel of light. Are you following me? Is this
100%?
Okay, great.
I'm biting my lips so I don't interrupt you.
Great. Okay, so I'm almost done. And with this part, so when we help others, sometimes we're tapping into when we're empaths, we're tapping into them, we're cording into them so that we can feel what they're feeling. And sometimes when we are conduits of light, when we are healers, when we are big personalities and just naturally charismatic people plug into us too. And what's happening is we're draining each other because it's not the most sustainable source, which is, higher power. And so every day, and sometimes multiple times a day, depending on how often you are plugging into others and people pleasing and healing and connecting, we need to disconnect those cords and plug everyone into source, everyone into ground. And I want to be really clear that disconnecting the cords doesn't mean that we don't love each other. It doesn't mean that we aren't bonded. It doesn't mean that we're not in relationship. It's not cutting the person off. What it is connecting everyone to their most sustainable, their most sustainable spiritual source, so that we don't drain each other and we don't create this like energetic suck or energetic vampirism even. Okay. And so what we can do daily is do that spiritual hygiene where we are cutting the cords that each other form with. We just naturally just do that, and it's not bad, but we just have to clean ourselves. It's like a spiritual shower, and doing that regularly will help us to not only connect to our highest self, which will allow our medicine to come through more, but it will also let the others connect to their medicine and their higher selves as well. And then everyone grows. Everyone gets more sustainability and more energy and less cording.
I want to know, because I have a shower in my, what does a spiritual shower entail? How does it work? Because I've heard of cleansing baths before, but I've never heard of a spiritual shower.
Yeah, I'm just using that as an analogy. So what I do, it's just like the way that you would shower, every day, every other day, whatever is right for you. You would do it like the same way. Like you want to do it as often or more than when you, as often if not more. And so when I work with clients, I'm doing mediumship, or like I'm tapping into them psychically. And so every time when I'm done with someone, I have to energetically clear. And you can do this a number of ways. The easiest way to do it, where you always have access to the tools, is just to do a guided visualization. We could do that really quickly if you like.
I was going to ask if you would mind. Yeah,
okay, great.
I would love that.
Great.
Sorry, Coach came over too. The dog's doing it with me now.
Oh, that's so sweet. Absolutely. Okay, so what I'm going to invite you to do is to close your eyes if you like. If you like, you can put your hand on your heart, whatever's comfortable, and bring your awareness inward. Place your thoughts and ego behind your third eye and begin breathing deeply. And fill your lungs up completely. And when you exhale out all the old air and compress your diaphragm so that all the old dead air is squished out and each breath is new and original. With your thoughts and ego placed behind your third eye, which is in the center of your brain, open up a channel of light from your crown and scan down with light completely down your body slowly and thoroughly. And when you get to the earth beneath you, create a grounding coil into the earth. It's like a corkscrew. And this is a grounding cable that will allow you to ground your body into this lifetime, into this present moment, as you are pulling source energy down from above. You're plugged into the grid and you're grounding into the earth. And now note the places on your body that you might have psychic cording, whether you have plugged into others or they have plugged into you. And we are going to gently and lovingly disconnect these cords by pushing the light within you out. And it just gently pushes the cords out as if it was a plug and an outlet, and it's just pushing outward. And everyone that you are disconnecting from, decording from, connect them to source. Imagine that light coming down for them, and imagine that grounding coil going into the earth for them as well. So all of us are just beams of light connected to source, grounding coil into the earth, and there are no plugs into each other. No cables, no lines tapping in that are draining. Everyone is one unit of light that is beaming down from source, filling each body fully, grounding coil into the earth. And breathe into this for a moment. Every place that each cord was connected, fill those places with light as if you're welding this channel of light, this being that is you. Just weld it completely with light until there are no cords, no holes, no portals. You are just one discrete unit of light being charged by the infinite incorruptible source, grounded into the earth. And you are fully and completely clean and independent. And as you're ready, wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and come back to center. So
That feels amazing.
good.
Like
good.
I felt it too. I felt that like the coil. I
Mhm.
felt like I was like I don't want to say being sucked into the ground, but like a corkscrew going into a cork.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great.
I have been going through a huge awakening since last year. I lost someone very, very close to me for the first time in my life. So I've always been religious, but always felt that I wasn't normal. I don't know if I can say that. And then last year, actually 2-3 years ago, my whole world just started collapsing and everything. And I've done quite a bit of research and all that into spiritual awakenings and stuff. So the dark night of the souls, how does everybody get that? Is it just a specific thing that happens in your life? Can it be a series of events?
Yes. The dark night of the soul, it's my understanding that everyone experiences it. It's part of our journey here. And so I believe that everyone goes through it. I'm not sure how much awareness they have depending on what their lifespan is or their life experiences, but I would assume that that's part of this that's part of this experience for everyone.
With that being said, I know I didn't ask this question right earlier, so I was while you were doing that, I heard my voice. How do you know you're hearing your voice compared to everybody else's voices? Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to make sure. Maybe I'm just an overthinker, but like, how does one make sure that they have their own voice that they're hearing, the one that needs to be heard, not the one that's the other's influences of what they think they should be doing? Good question, Brandon. I'm sorry. I was processing it, and I'm like, if I was to use me, I would say, how do I know it's my voice, not Ilsa, Brett, Holly's, that's telling me what to do? How do you know it's your voice that's pushing you in that light?
So we have several different voices that are happening inside our inner dialogue. So sometimes the ego is kind of a jerk. So
yeah.
So if you are, and then there's also and then we also have inner guidance, like your spirit guides. And then there's also like a higher form that is your higher power or your future self, your most expansive self. And so it can get quite loud inside. And so my best guidance for you on this is, if it is a rude, defeating, critical voice, that's not the one to listen to. So we often will get, a lot of times our ego and our inner critic will be informed by, it'll actually be like maybe one of our parents' voices, or maybe it'll be a teacher or someone or something in our past that was perhaps like traumatizing or critical, or kind of made us feel small, or made us feel less than or shamed. And so so sometimes it will even take on the voice and the quality and the cadence of maybe a parent that, you know, wasn't acting in their highest selves. And so it's really important to be able to discern which voices are coming from past traumas, that are coming from conditioning, that are coming from shame, blame, and guilt, and to distinguish what voice is the one that's going to be leading you forward. So the best way to do this is to meditate, to really sit with that and to really commune with that. And you can do that same exercise where you place your thoughts and egos behind your third eye, connect with the source, create the grounding coil, and then really connect with your inner guidance. And so there's, it's often the still small voice that will come up first, and it will be quiet, and then it will get drowned out with all the other, who do you think you are? And like, I can't possibly do that. Like, you're never going to make it like this. You can't, you know, and all these other voices that are conditioning, that are ego, that are past trauma and things like that will like overshadow it and get louder and louder and louder until we feel like we have to move, you know, with the safe bet, or move from fear, or move from a place, a smaller place of like feeling restricted because of past trauma.
Wow. Go ahead.
Sorry, can you maybe just explain how you step into your authenticity? What steps do you take? What is it? The pep talk you have with yourself to do that, because that's very difficult. It's very difficult being yourself.
Yeah. So if it's like anything critical or not like uplifting or cheerleading or being really loving and supportive, then I know that that's not the voice to listen to. Sometimes my spirit guides will give me a little tough love and tell me the truth, but it's not in a way that's critical. It's in a way that is that will activate me to move forward or to move away from things that are no longer serving me. But it's never in a way that is beating me down or holding me back or making me afraid, or it's always coming from a place of love. So if any of these voices in your head are not coming from a place of love, then those are not the ones to listen to, and those are the ones to have mastery over. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Thanks.
It does. Like when I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror and I say, I'm Brandon Mother Effin' Croucher, and tell myself that. And I didn't start that. I had somebody text me, go look in the mirror and tell me when you're there. And I did. And I'm standing there. I'm like, okay, I'm looking in the mirror at myself. And he goes, now tell yourself you're Brandon Mother Effin' Croucher and believe it. And then he just kept texting me things to tell myself like that. And I think it's funny because my spiritual like Reiki girl that I have was like, you need to start talking to your inner child. And when that negative voice comes in, I want you to start really taking a moment for yourself and talk to it. Don't be mad at it. Don't get aggravated and annoyed and let yourself get stuck. Like, actually ask it questions, Brandon. Like, why do you feel this way? What's going on? How can we heal this? And for me, I've been doing that for 2 weeks now. And while, yes, my mom and dad think I look crazy walking around the yard helping them with stuff, it's one of those things where I think it's fun that I'm seeing a difference in me, and that inner child healing is essential. Like the meditation and that, my dad makes fun of me for it because I'm sitting in the backyard, and I prefer to try to really see what's coming out and how I can be better. And I think that's exactly what you're doing. One of the things you mentioned as I bring your website up here for everybody is I'm going to probably use the wrong term, but that's because I switched off my notes. What is light healing, I believe is what it was called. Light language. Thank you. God, what is light language? As I scroll through your website, and P.S., that is an incredible dress. I am giving you a 10 out of 10 on that. I love it.
That's amazing.
I made it. Thank you.
You made this?
I made it. Yeah.
You get a 12 out of 10 then. Like, for real. Like,
thank you.
Like, that is beautiful. I absolutely love it. But that, Ilse, what was it called again? Say it so I don't say the wrong thing.
Light language. What is light
language.
language?
Okay.
So light language is a Mayan discipline for healing, and it is the belief that we can put different shapes into our grid, like sacred geometries, into our field, and that those can elicit different healing responses.
Oh, wow.
So wait, say that again so I don't mess it up, because I have a question, but I think I'm going to mess up my question if I ask it wrong. So can you say that again?
Yes. So light language is a Mayan healing modality that it's the belief that we can place different shapes and sacred geometry into our field, and that can create healing.
That is so interesting.
So it'd be like why people like living by the ocean, why they like living in the sunny areas, is they're feeling the energy being absorbed of the light. Does that sound correct?
It can, yes, yes. So that's something like where you might not feel, or you might not be able to see like the sun's radiation. Like every now and then you can see like, like a mirage, like when it's kind of like a wavy, look of something. But you can't always see that, but you can feel it. You can feel it with your skin, but you can also just feel it with your energetic body. Okay. So you know how like when you're in a room, if you're in a room and then somebody like walks up behind you and they don't make a noise and you can't see them, but like maybe the hairs stand up on the back of your neck and you just know that someone else is in the room or someone's looking at you. Okay, so that is your body responding to your energetic field is picking up on stuff that you're not actually getting with your five senses. Okay, so the when you're talking about being by the ocean or being in the sun, that's sometimes like it does touch your skin. But there's some things that are happening, to your energetic body that you're not always able to pinpoint, but you know that you feel better. So it does work kind of like that.
Is it almost like Reiki, just a different form of healing?
It
because
is.
Reiki is also energy healing.
Yes, you can compare it to Reiki, and it's my understanding that it is like a higher level, like it encompasses Reiki as well. It's kind of like a higher tier. Yeah, but Reiki is definitely amazing, and I have so much love and respect for that, and I definitely have received a lot of healing from that.
Me too.
And I was going to ask about that because I was like, so what do you think? What are your feelings on Reiki to hypnosis therapy to modern Western medicine therapy? Like, do you see a difference in them and how people are healing? And then I have a question from the audience, Miss Holly. Have you ever astral projected? Yes.
Yes.
I don't know what that is, so I'm going to ask what that is too.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
Okay. Let's go back to what was the first part of your questions? You were asking about Reiki, right? And the different modalities. Okay.
Correct.
Yes. Oh. Okay. So basically, this is just my personal opinion as somebody that's studied all different types of healing. I was pre-med in college, and so I studied like actual Western medicine, and I was an EMT, and I worked in in ambulances and surgery centers and things like that. And then I also did all of my projects on alternative therapy, so things like chiropractic and acupuncture and aromatherapy and all the different modalities. I think that we are best served when we have a plethora of healing modalities. I think try a little bit of everything and see what works for you. I think that just one thing is not the answer. Like, you wouldn't want to eat just one food your whole life. If you say that, okay, broccoli, for instance, broccoli is really healthy and it has a lot of great nutrients in it for you. But if you only ate broccoli, you would not be well, right?
Right.
And so you want to have a well-rounded diet of healing modalities. And so you want to try a little bit of everything and see what your being responds the best to, and then keep going in that direction. And does that answer your question about the different modalities?
Yeah. 100%, yes.
I've received there's a time and place for everything. There's a time and place for Western medicine and Western psychology. There's a time and place for more like crystal woo-woo stuff that sometimes you need a little more magic and you need a little boost on those things. Sometimes you need hypnotherapy. Sometimes you need Reiki. Sometimes you need actual massage. You need touch. Sometimes you need float tanks, so it's just really about having a well-rounded diet of healing modalities. And that's what I think is the best way, because you never know. If you're just going with one healing modality, you might miss all these other opportunities for healing. So, and then does that answer your question as far as that goes?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, yeah. So I think what our question was it's astral projection, ASTRAL, and so astral projection is being in the astral plane. Okay, so the astral plane is the place where, and I'm going to say this to the best of my ability, and I'm still learning about this. So please, do your own research as well. But my understanding of the astral plane is that it's the place where we dream. It's the place where imagination is before it becomes manifested. And so astral projection can be like when you are laying down in a meditative or sleeping state, and your soul is walking around in different places. So it's projecting into other dimensions, basically. And so as far as astral projection goes, I definitely, I personally try to be a little careful with that. I have friends that do it that are more experienced and practice with that. I think my teacher taught me that it was, you just have to do it very safely, because you're leaving your body. Your soul is kind of leaving your body, and you're still, breathing, and you're still, having your homeostasis and things like that. But your soul is like kind of on vacation, and you're leaving your house unguarded. And so when you're doing that, other entities and things could come in. And so like some other, beings might be like, oh, here's an empty space, let me squat here. And so it's important that, with astral projection, that you do it in a way that's where you're guarded and protected, so that no other, beings are coming in. And so what I've seen other like psychic mediums do is have assistants there kind of standing guard for their body and energetically like holding space so that other things don't come in. And so me personally, I don't feel like I'm as, when I'm dreaming, it's one thing that just kind of happens naturally by design, but I personally just don't feel as safe doing that. So I don't do that a lot. And when I do my like psychic mediumship, I don't leave my body. I'm filtering everything through my guides and through my senses, but I'm not like taken off and like allowing myself to be inhabited by anything else.
When you do your psychic mediumship, do you need to be in the same room as that person, or can you do it remotely?
No, I do it remotely. I actually feel that it's almost easier to do some of this stuff like when I'm not in the same room, because there's so many energetic signals and electricity that is happening between two bodies in the same room that can be distracting. And so I actually really love just doing it remotely, because then that way I know that I'm only tapping into this other dimension and I'm not getting all this extra feedback from my body.
Makes sense. I shared your Facebook link from your website for everybody to give you a follow, but I think you have to friend request you. Is that what that is? Just so because I see Kay looked like she was trying to find you to follow you and all that. I want to make sure if she's able to connect.
Yes. So have her send me a message then. If you want to send me a message, if you can find my Facebook page, is that what she's asking?
Yeah. I put the Facebook page up there so she could follow you along, and she was just making sure if there's a message or all that. But I also clicked, or if she needed to send a message, but I also put your website up here for everybody. And your website has a way to contact you and is all your new stuff that you're up to. By the way, how long have you been engaged? Because I see you've been engaged for a little bit now. Yeah. And I was like, I was trying to find the button to like share. And then it said engaged to Mr. Drew Johnson.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I want to congratulate her on that. And then I'm like, oh, it's been through since 2017. I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to congratulate her.
Oh, I will always say congratulations. I love words of affirmation. That's one of my top love languages. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes, we've been engaged for a while, and it's wonderful. And we are really enjoying being fiancés with each other.
I love it.
That's so awesome.
Go ahead, Elsa.
When are you guys planning on getting married?
We don't have a date set. We think it's really romantic, just like being in the stage. So many people, are so quick to, be engaged and then rush to the marriage. And I've been married once before, and so I already kind of know what that. I know what that experience is like, and so and it was wonderful in its ways, and I'm just really enjoying a long engagement. We might be engaged for 10 years. I don't know. We'll see.
I love that. I think that's a great thing because you're focusing on on each other first, not the wedding day, not the paper and all that. And I've been married too. That's one of those things where the minute I was like dating somebody seriously, like that's the question that comes out. Like, well, what are your thoughts on marriage? I personally don't want to get married again. But I know that there might be a person out there that I meet that I'm supposed to be with, but it can be a longer engagement. Take that time to get to know them because I'm going to spend the rest of my life with them, not just that year that we're in a honeymoon phase and everything's amazing. No, I'd rather have it be the long-term thing. So
right.
I love hearing that.
Then maybe you should say, I'm not going to get married right now, which leaves the gate open for I don't want to. And because I'm in that same boat.
Sorry, that's one of my regulars that I have not seen in a long time. I had to say hello. I was waving. Sorry. Sorry.
I don't know if I'll get. No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know if I'll get married again. I don't know.
But isn't that a form of unplugging? And I'm asking a very weird question, but you're unplugging from that energy. And when you meet the person that's going to be able to help recharge you and you recharge them, that's going to be where you'll see a difference. And it's like they help bring you out of that area. And it's not like somebody just draining you. It's somebody that's actually there. Oh, I love it. I got Holly thinking.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about how to best say this. So, okay. So when we take marriage vows, those can last lifetimes. And so, so even though we say till death do us part, the spirit lives on, and the part of us that makes those vows, still that energy still carries on even after this body expires. And so sometimes what happens is we get this karmic entanglement when we make vows and we say, I pledge my life to you, or even just saying, like, it doesn't even have to be a marriage vow, but just saying to someone like, I'll love you forever. I'll never stop loving you. Sometimes that creates these vows that can create entanglement from like lifetime to lifetime. And so sometimes what you see is a situation where people might say that they're married, and then they meet this other person comes into their life, and they feel this strong connection, and it doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form, like why they feel so bonded to this person, but it's this immediate like attachment. And sometimes what that can be is that they had taken vows to each other in several lifetimes, and so that can create entanglement in this lifetime. And maybe they might think like, oh, I'm going to leave my wife for this person because I have this strong, feeling, and I don't know what it is, but I know what I feel. And it's so incredibly powerful. Like it's pulling me in this direction. And so what's really important is that we are really conscientious of those vows that we have possibly made. And it's not always to it doesn't always have to be a romantic vow, like a marriage. We can take a vow of chastity, or a vow of poverty, or a vow of silence, or we can pledge our allegiance to a country or a king or a fraternity. And so there's all different types of vows and oaths and promises that we make lifetime to lifetime that can create karmic entanglement as we move forward. And so it's really important to have help with a practitioner who can help you to remove those and clear those vows too. And that's
so they can be removed.
Yeah, that's something that I do in part of my practice as well.
is there generational entanglement? So like if my dad was to F up life, like I have to like untangle his so mine gets better?
Yeah, kind of. Sorry. I've got ancestral trauma. Yeah, ancestral trauma
Yeah.
is definitely a thing, and it's so deep, and it happens like on a cultural level coming down, and it also can get like embedded in your DNA. So it's
Okay,
happening on many levels.
what is something that you can do at home? And I'm asking this because not everybody always has money to do this, and then they think, how is there something you can give us that we can do maybe to
Yeah,
help us,
absolutely,
please?
absolutely. So the best, so about ancestral trauma. Well,
Please.
yeah. So I have a funny little phrase that my friends came up with is like you've got two choices in this life. You can heal your ancestral trauma or drama llama. Like you just like
High
or your
drama.
life is just drama llama. So pretty much like that's part of like one of the directives that we're here to do. And so when you mentioned the like dark night of the soul, sometimes that can be intertangled with the ancestral trauma, but that's also one of the things that we're here to do. That's part of one of our objectives. Um, so um, so goodness, doing things at home. It's really complicated. If you can get um, a person to help you and guide you through this, then that is ideal. But we are all equipped with our own inner guidance. And so what you can do is meditate and ask your guides um, what what are the themes of the ancestral trauma, and what can I do in this life to transmute that, to make that ancestral trauma stop with me. So that, and when you do that work on yourself and you like are able to figure out where the ancestral trauma is coming from and how it's manifesting in your life and where it is in your DNA, when you're able to locate and process that stuff, do that work, that inner work on yourself and your own soul, then you not only heal the generations before you, but you can heal the generations after you. So you don't pass it on to your children or your, nieces, nephews, other, the generations that come after you, even if they don't actually come through your body. It can be, a stepchild or, students of yours, or even your viewers on the show. Like those can be, ancestors of sorts. Descendants of sorts. So when you decide to do that work, that was the part that was so fascinating to me, is that we can actually heal our ancestors by doing that work in this present timeline. Because time is like, it's a construct. Like it's not really like linear. It's not like, the things that happen can't be changed. You can actually do timeline therapy and go back and like change like your perception of things in your childhood. And you can go back and change the things that basically you can change the karma of your ancestors, because if you heal yourself and their trauma, their karma doesn't affect you anymore and you heal it, then it releases them from that karma. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like
It does,
you're
yeah.
paying the debt. You're paying the debt, and it can change it can heal them too and release them from their karmic chains and bondage as well.
And
Could they
that
go?
is, I'm so sorry.
No,
Go.
you're fine. Go ahead. You're good. Go. She's got
No,
us both so
no.
excited.
And that is doing shadow work. That is just changing and setting up boundaries and personal boundaries. That is how you do that. Hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, shadow work can be ancestral trauma. It can be your own personal shadow. And boundaries are an amazing tool. And there's a lot of ways to work with all of those things. Those are all pieces of a big picture, but they're not like the only components.
What if you do this healing and you do this untangling and I spend all this work, and then a grandpa that I never met goes back and does something again? Can he retangle it?
That has more to do with your psychic cording. If you, it's going like, are you still, is he still alive? Is he, is this happening? Like, are you interacting
I
with
was
him still?
No, I was kind of using just like a very vague example. He's not with us anymore, so that question really doesn't help with it. Like with that, but like I was using it as, let's use my dad. If my dad had something and I'm working on generational curses, generational traumas, and untangling them, if I work on that, is that going to set triggers off maybe in him as it goes? And then can he retangle those things up if I'm working on them?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So once you heal it in yourself, it's just a matter of continuing to keep it decorded and not like let it go back to the place that it was before. So once you heal it in yourself, it's just a matter of maintenance. But if you are interacting with that person still, and there's still, the dance is still happening, then they can still, pull you into stuff if you're, still in this lifetime, like interacting with each other. So it's just a matter of really learning how to navigate, how to have those. This is where the boundaries would really come in, is if the person's still alive and you're still trying to figure out how to navigate your relationship with them. But like really the compassion, non-judgment, non-attachment is going to be the best way to not become entangled again.
Makes sense. So I'm going through, I've been having fun with your website. By the way, is that your son in some of these pictures?
Yes.
He is adorable. I
you.
figured him, I was putting two and two together with stuff. So one of the things we do on our show is we focus on, this is a good one, boundaries and protection bubbles. I love it. Thank you, Sherry. One of the things we do is we end our episodes. We only have like 8 minutes left, and it takes a few minutes for us to usually do this, but we do a positive affirmation for everybody. And this could be you reading your favorite quote from a song, to reading your favorite inspirational quote from whatever, to even just something that you felt's been on your heart that you needed to get off. Whatever it's going to be, it's about inspiring others and bringing a positive light. Don't worry. Elsa and I will show you how to do it first, and that way you get to take it out after that and take us out for the day. But Holly, you have, like, honestly, I think we both came into this excited to interview you, get to know a little more, and you answered them in a very grounded way. Like, you didn't let our energies of the fun that we take, like we can easily distract guests and like have a fun, laughy conversation, but no, you took you made sure we got answers, and you really heard our questions. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart today for bringing your light and shining it for all of us today. So thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really enjoyed being with you too, and you both asked very deep, poignant questions, and I really appreciate your thoughts and intellect and spirit on that. And it's just been lovely, and I would love to come back whenever you want me to come back. So thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely.
Oh, absolutely. You are always welcome back. And I'm actually already subscribed and friend requested you on Facebook. So the bald guy with the Ninja Turtle mug, that's me. I promise I'm not a creeper. I only lightly stalk Elsa. So, but I will show. Just kidding. So I will show everybody. I will show you exactly how we do this, and that way you don't have to worry about anything. And it just makes it fun. So, guys, my name is Brandon. As you guys know, a lot of you know. It's Tuesday, but we're still in August, and we're doing August Appreciation Month, and we're focusing on appreciating everybody around us and who's there. So for this month, I want you to take yourself out of your comfort zone. Think of that person who brings appreciation to your heart that you couldn't be without, that person that maybe just gives you a smile when you need it. Reach out to them and give them that appreciation today. Say, hey, thanks for being you. You don't have to make it long. You don't have to make it anything powerful. Just thank you for being you, because we need to appreciate one another and build this best world that we can, because the only way we change the world is with starting with ourselves. Thanks, guys.
Hi guys. Okay, so like Holly, I also like words of encouragement, and I get an email every morning from the universe, and Yesterday's, I couldn't read yesterday's because it was a public holiday. But today I've got it here and I really want to read it to you. So it says, Ilse, do you know what you've been doing your entire life? No, besides getting better. No, besides getting wiser. No, besides getting older. My, you are talkative today. You have been touching, teaching, and healing friends and total strangers every step of the way. Lay on thy hands, the universe. So I want to dedicate that to everybody out there today.
Good reading.
Bye.
Great. Thank you. So, so I received a download during the pandemic, and I want to share this with you. This was something that my guides shared with me, that there is so much, there's so many different signals of information and research and different opposing news sources and things coming through the airwaves. And what's happening is there is a bit of a mind control of sorts happening with that. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but I wanted to empower you, because what I got from my guides is that one way that we can override a lot of this mind game stuff that's happening in the media and become more connected to ourselves, the earth, and each other is to sit daily in your meditation and to imagine the world that you dream of, the most ideal utopian society, your biggest dream, your best life, and sit and vibrate in that imagination. Visualize it, feel it with your feelings, your emotions, and your sensations. Be sure to attach emotions, be sure to attach body sensations to your visualization. And the message that I got is, if every single one of us does that, or at least the really powerful ones that that feel called. If you hear this message and this inspires you, you're one of those people. So if you can sit and imagine your most perfect dream life, attach emotions and sensations to it, and sit and do that, then we can send out signals. We are electrical beings. We are radio towers of sorts. We can send these signals of bliss and prosperity and peace and unity out to the ether, and we can override those signals that are happening in the media and with social unrest. We can actually override that and create the reality that we want just by imagining it. By sitting in that deep meditation and feeling it with the fabric of our being. And that's how we truly can overcome this. That it's the message of be the change that you want to see. You sit and you feel it, you embrace it, you transmit it. And that's how we can actually change our reality to something more positive and more pleasant, more loving and connected.
Very, very well said. Wow. Guys, you just heard it here first. To change the world. Sherry, I saw your comment about a healing circle and all that. Take a moment. Like, we're going to be off air in 2 minutes. Take a moment and make sure you're putting out that energy, because, guys, thank you, Sherry. We are limitless. 100% well said. Holly, you brought all of us up another level today and brought such a big light. I am honored and grateful. If you want to stick around backstage for a minute, we'll just do just hang out, and you can tell Brett how handsome he is. He knows. Just trust me. He's got a little bit of an ego. But for real, guys, take a moment after this, even if it's only a minute. But that minute is for you. And that minute can be the minute that changes your world. So let's do that today. Guys, thank you for tuning in. My name's Brandon. We got Ilse, the most beautiful girl in South Africa right there. And then we have Holly. Holly, I didn't even ask where you're from. I'm sorry. Where are you?
I'm north of Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, I know. So that's kind of funny, because guess who else is north of Atlanta, Georgia? One of my favorite commenters, Miss C.K. Ford. And she and you would get along great. Like I like when I saw her comment, I was like, I know she wants to talk to you.
Oh yes, definitely.
Like, for real. So Holly, thank you again. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Remember, like, comment, share, and get yourself out there spreading the positivity the joy and the delight that we all want to see in the world, because the only way we do that is doing it together and making that energy grow. So Holly, thank you for raising our energy today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and I'm really grateful to be here.
Thank you.
Thank
Guys,
you.
have a good one. We'll talk to you
Bye,
tomorrow.
guys.